The first sin wasn't actually pride. Do you know Satan's oldest trick? And are you falling for it right now? I often hear people say to me, I don't need a book to tell me what to do. But what if that thought didn't originate with you? What if it was planted? What if you're just accepting a different master? So what was Satan's first and greatest deception? Well, pride did play a role in the second sin. Before Eve ever ate the apple, she first had to believe a lie about God, and Satan knew right where to push. See, first, he subtly reframes God's identity. Throughout Genesis, when God interacts with man, he's called Yahweh Elohim, the relational loving father. But when Satan speaks, he deliberately drops the Yahweh and only calls him Elohim, the name associated with God's justice and power. From the very start, the enemy shifts Eve's perception, making God seem distant rather than personal. Then, he distorts God's words to reframe God as a slave master instead of a loving father. See, in both marriage and slavery, people agree to give up some freedom for the other person, but in a healthy marriage, both do so out of mutual love, looking out for each other's best interest, and it's beautiful. When it's done out of force and one party, the master, is not looking out for the interest of the other, but rather is only having self-interest, that is slavery. So get what Satan says. He says, did God really say that you must not eat of any tree in the garden? The serpent twists God's words, exaggerating the rule to make it seem unfair, controlling, and overly restrictive, when he really had only restricted one tree. Then he says, you will not surely die, for God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be open and you will be like God. He makes Eve believe God is holding out on her and restricting her in self-interest rather than protection. Before she even takes a bite, she's already fallen, because she no longer sees God as the loving father, but as the slave master. Many people would rather choose death over slavery, so Satan knows that's the only lie she must believe to be willing to risk death. And it's the same lie still deceiving people today. See, if I'm gonna let God be God of my life and pledge to follow him, I have to trust that where he will lead me is where I wanna go. If God truly knows everything, he's named all the stars in the sky and he loves us more than we love ourselves, then anywhere he directs me to go is what I'd choose for myself if I love myself fully and I knew everything. I could trust that love was the decision maker of my fate. Not a general love, but somebody who knows every hair on my head and knit me together in my mother's womb. A truly good father. A good shepherd that would lay down his life to save mine. The source of love and wisdom itself, that kind of a God I could pledge to follow. John 10:11, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for his sheep. God is not asking for slavery. He's asking for a love relationship.